Good evening, and welcome to the 2026 Annual Awards. I am Sue Haumer, Co-Executive Director at the Alpaugh Family Economic Center.
And I'm Brad Evans, the other Co-Executive Director. Thank you for joining us as we recognize the schools, volunteers, and business leaders who help bring financial and economic education to students across our region. Before we begin our program, we would like to welcome Senator Ingram. She is here with us tonight. She's been a loyal supporter of the Economic Center and has brought proclamations from the state of Ohio for each of our award recipients.
I'm trying to rush. Here's what happens when you don't do what's supposed to be done. I am so sorry I do not have them with me,
No, they're here.
but hopefully you have them.
We have them.
But I'm not going to read them anyway because nobody wanted me to come and read them. What I do want to make sure we do, we recognize the center for its 50th anniversary. And that was the important piece. And it comes from the General Assembly. President McCauley signed it, as well as myself out of my Senate district, which is District 9, which you are in. Welcome to my district. And it's important for us to recognize the work that impacts all of us. Because though it's for our children and our region, it's for the state. And so the 136th General Assembly recognizes you as an organization as well as each of the winners for today. So thank you. That's the max.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This year's awards event is especially meaningful because 2026 marks the 50th anniversary of the Alpaugh Family Economic Center. Reaching 50 years is a milestone for any nonprofit, but what matters most to us is our impact. For 5 decades, the center has worked to give students the knowledge to make smart financial decisions, the understanding to navigate the economy around them, and the confidence to recognize opportunities in their own lives. And that impact is possible because of people like you, who believe in financial and economic education and that it truly matters.
The center carries the name of a family that has been part of this mission from the very beginning. In 1976, W.G. Alpaugh, known as Pete, was part of a small group of business leaders who believed young people needed a stronger foundation in financial education. Together, they created the Greater Cincinnati Center for Economic Education, which would eventually become the Alpaugh Family Economic Center. To lead that effort, they hired the center's first executive director, Dr. George Vriedeveld, who recently shared a few memories about those early days.
1976, late 1976, the economics department at the University of Cincinnati posted a job opening. The director of a newly formed economic education center, the Greater Cincinnati Center for Economic Education. They asked me to come in for an interview and left thinking I would really like this job. A few weeks later, I got a call, and a positive call. They said, George, we'd like you to be our next director. And I said, that sounds good to me. Pete Alpaugh was a founding member of the group that was responsible for the center. This board had leading members of the business community. It had also involved members of labor. They wanted a nonpartisan board. They wanted a nonpartisan approach to economic education. And that's how it started.
And we're fortunate to have George here with us tonight. George, would you please stand so we could recognize you?
Not long after the center was founded, Pete Alpaugh invited his son Peter to join the Board of Trustees. Peter quickly became deeply involved in the center's work, serving on committees, supporting programs like Market Madness, and sponsoring the Alpaugh Scholars workshops. Over the years, his commitment to the center's mission has never wavered.
And this year, Peter and his wife, Vicki, made an extraordinary commitment to our center's future, a planned gift of $10 million. And that gift will help ensure that students here in Greater Cincinnati and around the world will continue to have access to engaging, real-world financial and economic education.
50 years ago, the center began with a simple idea, that young people should understand money, opportunity, and the economy that they will one day lead. This gift helps ensure that our mission continues into the next 50 years. We'll have the opportunity to recognize Peter later this evening, but first, I'd like to invite to the stage the chair of the Alpaugh Family Economic Center's Board of Trustees, Ben Willingham.
Good evening. What a beautiful room. What a great night. My name's Ben Willingham, and I have the honor of chairing the board. And it's wonderful to see so many friends in such a great space gathered here this evening. We're here to celebrate the educators, the volunteers, and the business leaders who help bring financial and economic education to the life for students, and to mark an important milestone, as you've heard, in the center's history. Before we continue with the program, I'd like to recognize the sponsors who helped make tonight possible. You'll see them on the screens here. The individuals and organizations you see here support our work in a very real way. Their generosity helps us bring financial and economic education programs to tens of thousands of students in Ohio every year. I'd especially like to recognize our 1976 society sponsors, Peter and Vicki Alpaugh, Fifth Third Bank, and Nathan and Marcy Backrack. Thank you for your loyal support of the center. We're also grateful for our gold sponsors, Fort Washington Investment Advisors and Western and Southern Financial Group, who've once again stepped forward to support this event. And we're fortunate to have a terrific group of silver sponsors this year, led by Diane and John Altmix, along with Cincinnati Bengals, Deloitte, Ed and Nancy Finke, Home City Ice, JP Morgan, Kroger, Northside Bank, Oodle, Schiff Insurance, Sycamore Capital, and United Dairy Farmers. And one really cool note here is Oodle is a new sponsor, a national company that I can't even tell you what they do, but you're going to see a lot more in the future as they partner with us and the team developing the new brand for our Smart Path. Finally, we're grateful to our many bronze sponsors, including many longtime friends of the center. Your support of our mission and programs means a great deal to us. And you'll see them here as well. I also have the privilege of serving alongside a dedicated and active board of trustees. You can see their names on the screen behind me. These individuals give their time, expertise, and leadership to help guide the center's work, and we're deeply grateful for their commitment. And last but not least, we're very fortunate to have an incredible group of emerging leaders supporting the center. This is our future. This group of young professionals has been the driving force behind tonight's auction, and we're very grateful for the time and creativity they've put into making this happen. If you haven't had a chance to purchase auction tickets, another plug, or split the POC tickets, there's still time. Just scan the QR code at your table. Thank you again for being here, and we look forward to a great panel and program.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you again to our sponsors, trustees, and emerging leaders whose support help makes the center's work possible. Now we'd like to turn our attention to recognizing the outstanding educators, volunteers, and community partners who help bring financial and economic education to life for our students every day.
When our Susan Sargen Student Enterprise Program, or STEP team, first started going to Springmyer Elementary in the Oak Hill School District, they were astonished by the support supplied by the Springmyer PTA. At every STEP store, a small army of parents and grandparents would be there, ready to keep the checkout tables running smoothly and to chat with the students as they made their decision on how to spend their STEP earnings. It was clear to us that Springmyer is a school community that truly believes in the value of financial and economic education. Let's take a look.
The STEP store is very important here in the Springmyer community. First, we think that financial literacy is a life lesson, and we know that how important it is at the early age of 6, 7, 8 years old to start develop the mindset of good finances. And so just to see the kids come in and their brain work, am I going to buy, donate, or save, is awesome just to watch their brain work.
Well, I kind of started saving this year, like learning how to spend my money and save it wisely, like not how I did in 3rd grade.
So when they come in the first quarter, they're just excited. Like they want to see like, well, what are the options? They might come up with a little bit more and then they can afford, and we get to walk them through, okay, well, you have a little more than you can spend. Well, what are your priorities? Like it seems like this stuffed animal is important to you. How do we make other choices? But then by the 4th quarter, they're showing up and like they have a better sense of like what they can afford, and they're also just being very generous. Like, so they're thinking about like their siblings who maybe aren't quite old enough to do STEP store, and they're also giving generously to Children's Hospital.
When I walked into STEP store, I'll usually kind of just look around like the table, and then like I'll look and see what I want to get, and then when I go up to the checkout, I'll usually donate. Because when I do that, I feel like I just feel like I'm being nice and giving like stuff to someone who needs it.
My sister is 4 years old, and she's like really energetic and she loves her stuffed animals. So I was thinking if I get her one of those, it'll be a great present for her.
I really believe in the financial literacy component of the program, and I also feel like there's a big component with the positive behavior incentive system that a lot of our schools implement anyway. We already have a school-wide program here at Springmyer, and this just greatly enhances the program that we already have. And I love that it rewards all students every day for being respectful, responsible, and safe.
It gives me chills because it's such a special community here at Springmyer. We are the smallest elementary school. There's 5 elementary schools within Oak Hills. We are the smallest. We hold our PTA meetings monthly. However, we're in contact several times a week. We hold several activities for the students, for the teachers, for the community.
We're very lucky to have such an engaged group of like parents and even grandparents who give so generously with their time. We all work, but we find a way to like be here and like pour into our kids through the STEP store and just the other opportunities that we get.
To not just like go ahead and buy everything that you see. I really want like this huge thing, and so I'm gonna save up for it.
Now I'd like to call the team from Springmyer Elementary to come to the stage to receive the STEP School of the Year Award.
We wanted to check in real quick on our Emerging Leaders Split the Pot fundraiser right now. Looks like it's $1,240. You still have time to buy your tickets for the Split the Pot and our raffle using the QR codes located at your tables. Programs like STEP and Smart Path only make an impact because of the people who bring them to life. Every year, we're fortunate to work with volunteers who give their time, share their expertise, and help students see that the financial decisions they make today can help shape their future. Tonight, we're honored to recognize a team that has gone above and beyond in that role. Our Student Enterprise Program Volunteer Team of the Year Award recognizes a partner that has shown an extraordinary commitment to our students, showing up, asking great questions, and helping young people build confidence in their financial decisions. This year's honoree is a team whose enthusiasm, professionalism, and generosity have made a real difference in classrooms and step stores across our region. Let's take a look at what makes the volunteers from Deloitte so special.
STEP means a lot to our students here. First of all, the STEP program has taught our children how to be givers. STEP also means an opportunity to learn more about financial literacy at a young age.
The main lessons I hope the students are learning from STEP are to interact with adults or people that they don't know well, and to be able to do some quick mental math throughout the buying process.
I've been volunteering with STEP, I believe, a little over 10 years now. I love seeing the kids that come in, and maybe they are going to spend, maybe they are going to save all, but even by Q4, like we said, they know, they're like, okay, here's what I'm spending, here's what I'm giving, here's what I'm saving, and they notice those different avenues for their money, because long term, that's really what's going to get them through in life.
When I started with the program 14 years ago, we had roughly around 1,700 students. That number is over 4,000 now, and that is 100% because of the volunteers and the ability to match each school with a business partner volunteer. We have schools on waiting lists who would love to do the program, so if we have folks out there who are interested in bringing their business on board, come join us at any of our STEP stores. That's usually a good way to see how fun it is and how meaningful it is, and then that gives us the ability to continue to grow.
We really like the interaction with the kids, and you can tell coming from a math accounting career, seeing them work through what they can earn, saving the next year. I love when they get a little bit older and they start realizing the interest on savings as well.
The volunteers are positive influences on our students. They get to see people that have different careers come in, and hopefully it will inspire our children to want to work in one of those careers that the volunteers are working.
So for them to talk to somebody who's an accountant and learn what that career means when it comes to the folks at Deloitte, it's a great opportunity for them to hear about things beyond what they normally do.
So the students do look forward to it, especially when they see some of the younger volunteers that come in. So a lot of times I see them smiling and laughing with our children, and so that makes me feel good that it's two ways. The kids are having fun and the volunteers are having fun.
The Deloitte volunteers really seem to enjoy the program. We know that based on the fact that they come back each quarter. We have kids who will wait in line for their specific volunteer because they do get to see them from quarter to quarter and year to year.
We understand the value of financial literacy, and this is a small part of the financial literacy process that is often missed in schools. And so I know for me personally, and our organization as a professional services firm really values that.
What gets people coming back is just, it's an enjoyable thing to do. It's a lot more rewarding than I think going in and working in Excel.
I'm just very grateful that you guys stuck with us for at least 15 years. And took the time out to find volunteers that want to work with our children and help them to be better adults, hopefully, in years to come.
Please join me in congratulating our Student Enterprise Program Volunteers of the Year from Deloitte. I'd like to invite the Deloitte team to join us on stage to accept the award.
When the center's first executive director, George Redevelt, began preparing for retirement, he set out to find someone who could carry the center's mission into its next chapter. He found that person in a professor from the University of Memphis who had already made history, launching the nation's first statewide financial literacy program through a public-private partnership. Her name was Dr. Julie Heath. Under her leadership, the center took a bold new step forward with the creation of SmartPath, expanding our reach and bringing financial education to students across the country and around the world. And we're fortunate to have my friend Julie Heath here.
It was so much work putting all of the pieces of SmartPath together. There was the standards component, there was the assessment component. I think we, and really we, this is not me, we did a really good job of listening to teachers. Tell us what you want. The lessons needed to be short. They needed to be applicable to more than one standard. Funny would be great, they told us. So there was a lot that went into what the teacher was going to see. When we figured out a way to help other state councils monetize it by entering specific zip codes, for example, to display their area of sponsors, that was gold. That was great.
I got a little ahead of myself on that one. We're fortunate to have my friend Julie Heath here as well tonight. Julie, if you could please stand so we could recognize you.
Thank you, Julie. And now the moment we've been building toward all evening. Tonight, we present our Cornerstone Award for the very first time, and there's simply no one more deserving than Peter Alpaugh.
Peter doesn't just believe in this mission, he lives it every single day. His commitment to financial and economic education and to this community has made everything we do possible. We'd like you to see why.
W.G. Alpaugh, known as Pete, was a founding member of the group that was responsible for the center, and he also was one of the people who interviewed me. I just have so many fond memories of the center and in these early days, and especially I have a fond memory of Pete Alpaugh. Pete was interested in staying in touch, but not so much to be involved as he had in the past. And Peter was ready to become more involved.
My grandfather, we called him Paul Pete, Walter, was obviously one of the original founders, and my father, we knew has continued that commitment for decades, supporting programs that help kids learn financial and economic skills. And even as a kid, it was clear that this work mattered deeply to both my dad and my grandfather, and was closely tied to our family's values. My dad definitely believes that understanding how money and the economy work empowers individuals, empowers kids, but all the way through life, to make informed choices for themselves and for their families. And what resonates most deeply with him is the long-term impact, knowing that lessons can shape a child's future and that can be lasting in meaningful ways.
It's what really drew me to pursue a higher education myself and to really find an importance of giving back to the community as well. I truly do believe that the community shapes who you are, and it's so important to go full circle and return back to the community. And being part of the Economic Center is just one of those ways. And trying to carry on that family legacy and what Pete started and what Peter has been carrying is just so valuable.
When we were building out SmartPath, at one point I told him, when it was obvious how big this thing could be, I said, Peter, you're going to change the world. And he just, in the way that, he says, oh, no, he's just so humble. But he did. He did.
The Cornerstone Award, it's so named because they're the foundational family that has built the center. From early on, from Peter's father to Peter himself today, to his niece and nephew. Their legacy lives on, and their generosity has afforded us the ability to be forward-thinking, to experiment with programs. Going back to SmartPath, it was a direct correlation to Peter's gift that built SmartPath, and really that is what has pushed us forward and moved us across the nation and expanded our programs and our reach.
Obviously, the Alpaugh Estate gift is incredibly meaningful for our organization. It will enable us to be around for the next 50 years and beyond that. And certainly takes a little bit of pressure off of our funding needs in the future, which will allow us to dedicate more of our staff time to delivering, whether it's research or financial literacy education.
I think it's been most meaningful is that he is truly interested and engaged in all our programs.
Well, he wanted to retire from the center, and I have his values, and to this day, appreciate everything he did for me, and I'll look up to him from time to time to say thank you for what you've done.
We are so proud to honor Peter tonight. And to do that properly, we wanted someone who understands at the deepest level what it means to invest in a community and in the power of economic education to change lives.
Our presenter tonight is the chairman, president, and CEO of Western and Southern Financial Group, and a former board member of the Alpaugh Family Economic Center. Under his leadership, Western and Southern has grown into a national financial services powerhouse with assets exceeding $130 billion.
But his impact goes far beyond business. He has been one of the great civic architects of modern Cincinnati, from the over-the-Rhine Renaissance to the revitalization of downtown, leaving a mark on this city that will last for generations. In 2024, he was honored as a great living Cincinnatian.
He knows Peter, he knows this community, and he knows firsthand what an investment like Peter's truly means. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. John Barrett.
I'm pleased you've kept Susan Sargen's name in the program. Susan was a long-time believer in what you do, and she was married to our former chief investment officer. And she's been a wonderful friend, and I love the fact you guys still recognize that. It's cool. Pete and I have known each other since high school. Oh boy. And Pete and his sister Andy, who I haven't seen in 30 or 40 or 50 years. She went to Hawaii when we were all still getting out of college. First time I've seen her since then is like tonight. Great to see you. You look great. Vicki, you're a piece of work too, I'll tell you. So our kids grew up together. So I've known the Alpaugh family forever. I knew Pete's dad. And their commitment to this center is second to none. One of the wonderful things about Cincinnati is people's commitment to making things last and endure. Our whole city lives on that. And the Alpaughs wrote the book on it. 50 years. Pete knows how important it is to not only just give, but to keep supporting and devote your time, treasure, and emphasis. Don't drop it. Make it better and better and better. And there's no way around the fact that this center has gotten better and better and better. Even George Vriedeveld's getting better and better. It's great to see you, George. It's been a long time. We worked on a lot of community projects together years ago, and some of the stuff we did people didn't like, but all of it worked. All of it worked, George. Anyway, you've been extremely generous, and this $10 million additional gift is just going to propel this for a long, long time. You don't just give, you give and you stay involved. And this center will be a really strong part of this community for many, many years, and you're exporting what you do elsewhere. That's really cool. But one of the things I really appreciate about the Alpaughs is they do stay committed to what they're doing. They sold their insurance business a long time ago and invested an awful lot of the proceeds back into Cincinnati. How cool is that? It's the best. And that matters, especially when it comes to financial education. The Alpaugh family understood from the beginning that when young people have a foundation in how to manage money and the economy to work and how the economy works, they're in a much better position to handle themselves for the rest of their lives. And Peter has carried that forward in a very deliberate way. Through his leadership and philanthropy, he helped expand the reach of this work and support new ideas and make sure it continues to work going forward. Most recently, as you know, Peter and Vicki have pledged $10 million. And that's incredible. And for that, I think we need to say up and thank you, Peter. Come on up. So I think it's time for you maybe to come up here, I think, right? And receive an award? Am I on schedule? Somebody, let me know if I'm doing the wrong thing here. It says here, do not let George Vriedeveld get the mic. Okay, I won't. Come on up.
Cincinnati is built. I get to say a few words? Or?
You get to say a lot of words. Go ahead.
Oh. Anyway, thank you for those very kind words. And good evening to everybody. Thank you all for attending the Economic Center 50th anniversary at the historic Music Hall. It's an honor to accept this award, and I'm deeply honored to receive it. And, grateful for the Economic Center and the selection committee to be recognized. When I think of the Cornerstone, I think of a foundation unseen, but essential to everything that's built upon it. Be recognized on this is a real privilege. I would not be here, I would not be here if it weren't for the people that came before me, the CEOs in the Chamber of Commerce, the CEOs including my dad. And since 1976, they saw a need to teach young people the fundamentals of money, how to spend, how to save, and how to give back. Economic Center is built upon a powerful belief of giving back. The Economic Center opens the doors and strengthens our communities. I'm very grateful to the carrying this legacy out and the witnessing of lasting impact of future generations. And I thank you, the past directors, Dr. George Vriedeveldt and Dr. Julie Heath, for creating an outstanding organization and to the two co-directors, Sue Ameyer and Brad Evans, and who are assisted by Kathy Palmer. And all the current past board members, excuse me, all the past boards, thank you for your support. So, and a special thanks to all the ELs who have helped the many schools using the STEP program, past, present, and finally, thank you for all the supporters and donors of future and donors. Yeah. So, and continue to build the mission to make this organization and community stronger. I look forward to what we will be doing in the future. So thank you again, and I'm very honored. Cunningham sent you a great Cincinnati.
I'll take it down for you. Go ahead. I'll take it down, Brad.
Peter, on behalf of our entire board, our staff, and everyone whose life has been touched by the center, thank you.
We are grateful for your generosity, your vision, and your unwavering belief in what we're building together. And now we're proud to bring you a very special keynote. As part of our 50th anniversary celebration, looking back on our impact and looking forward to what the next generation of students will need to be successful.
And what better way to show the impact of the programs you've supported than to hear directly from the people who've experienced them? And who better to guide that conversation than someone who inspires us in his own right through his commitment to community and philanthropy and through his achievements on the football field. Please join us in welcoming Ted Karras of the Cincinnati Bengals, who will introduce our keynote panel.
Ted, we're grateful for your support of our work, and we're excited to have you with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Ted Karras, Center for the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, thank you. Pete, I've heard you're been a Bengals fan since the days of Nippert, so thank you for that. Exciting week. We've added some big additions, both literally and figuratively. Thank you, Katie. Training camp practice just got a lot harder with big decks in there. So, very exciting. This is the year. Very excited to be with you tonight. I'm also the co-founder of the Cincy Hat Foundation, and thank you. And we've been blessed over the last couple years to partner with the UC IDD Education Center and provide 2 full scholarships to 2 young women to attend UC. And I'm very grateful. Thank you. I'm very grateful to UC for all the opportunities that they provide young people in our city, and including this one, even though I'm not that young anymore. But this is my first time hosting a panel, so we're all going to do this together. It's very exciting. My journey to the NFL obviously starts with a lot of people who believe in you. And I have amazing parents, I've had awesome coaches, and especially I've had great teachers. And I got to meet some teachers here today that were honored. And I've had several in my life that have saved my life and gotten me to where I am today. And so tonight is about those people and the moments that shape our future, and is about those early classroom experiences, the ones that don't always feel big at the time, but you never know what's going to happen in a classroom and early education that can shape the way a child sees their future. So very grateful to be here with that. I'm excited to announce and introduce our panel. Joining me for a special keynote discussion are two business leaders who once sat in greater Cincinnati classrooms and playing the stock market game. Michael Barton, sector head from Coatue Management, and Sam Hall, co-founder and COO of GrowthFactor.ai. We'll give it up for them, yeah. We're also, I guess you guys can come up as I introduce you. We're also fortunate to have Tim Walker with us. Tim is the principal at Glendale Elementary, a longtime administrator shaping school culture every single day, and he's one of the biggest advocates for financial education that we know. Thank you, Tim. And finally, also joining us is Ava Van Praag, who participated in STEP as a student at Kilgore School and is now studying education at Miami and student teaching at North College Hill Elementary, where she takes her students to the STEP store. So guys, come on and join me up here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, guys. I guess we'll get right into it. Tim, you've watched hundreds of students participate in STEP over the years as being a partner of the program. Tell us about how you got introduced to this program and what STEP has meant to students in your schools.
Yeah, sure. So I got introduced to STEP 10 years ago when I was a resource coordinator for Cincinnati Public Schools. What this means for teachers is that teachers use the PBIS system as a part of their school day to help kids understand that when you do the correct things, then you can earn STEP points in order to be able to go to the STEP store. For students are learning financial literacy. And when students have the opportunity to learn financial literacy, it changes their life. And so we are giving them those experiences that they may not otherwise have.
And you're helping students accrue interest on saving?
Yes.
Is that a big part of it? Okay, what is the coolest thing you can buy in the STEP store?
They have many options. They have big prizes, they have small prizes, they can earn gift cards. So it just depends on what they desire that they want to know.
Saving could be tough because you are incentivized to buy. Okay.
But I tell you, the key thing though is that we're teaching them how to save, how to spend, and how to donate. And when you see students walk away from that store excited, telling you, hey, I am happy that I helped somebody else, that puts a smile on your face and it reminds you of why you do what you do.
That's amazing. That's great. I like that. So, Michael, take us back to 2011. You're a student at Cincinnati Country Day with your classmate Sam, and you guys participated in the stock market game with your teacher, Susie Lewis. I believe Mrs. Lewis is here. If you could stand up and be recognized, please. A great educator. I believe you taught Ava as well, right?
Yes.
That's unbelievable. Thank you for that. You and Sam won the stock market game that year, and you got to travel to New York and see Wall Street. And what did that moment feel like, and how has that shaped maybe your careers as it goes now?
Well, thank you guys for being here. You mentioned this earlier, that there are these people in your life that, especially early on, that have a big impact, and later, often you don't get to recognize them, but I can't say this with more emphasis. Susie Lewis changed my life. We were 8th grade students. Sam and I have been best friends since 1st grade. And as you come up it's very rare to find people in these tough moments that believe in you, especially when a lot of other people don't. And Susie was always that for, well, Mrs. Lewis, I've never called her Susie. I'm like getting old up here. Mrs. Lewis was that, and she really just encouraged us. We did math counts together. We traveled around, but most importantly, she kind of believed in us when, or at least for me, not Sam. Sam was always very smart. A lot of people didn't, and she also introduced us to this really fun game that literally since 8th grade, I haven't wanted to stop playing, and that's the stock market game. And I'm lucky to do it every day, and it wouldn't have happened without you, so thank you.
And got you guys safe back from New York City as 8th graders.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's quite an accomplishment. Sam, you had exposure, as we said, with playing the stock market game. And so at a young age, getting exposure to this, how does that help students understand money, markets, and opportunity early in life? What kind of difference can that make in a young person's life?
Yeah, I think there are two main elements to the kind of financial literacy that really helps students grow. And I think one of them speaks to why Mrs. Lewis's class, and in particular the stock market game that you played every fall, I think, and spring in your 8th grade, which has been 20 years ago and we're still talking about it, is number one, it's a very abstract problem that's teaching kids how to solve something that isn't just a direct A to B thing. That's something that, I think I have really played on in my career, in my life, in undergraduate and graduate school, and now in my time as an entrepreneur. It's solving abstract problems that don't have a clear end, and figuring out how to break that down. I think the stock market game, in a lot of ways, was probably the first time that we as students had that opportunity. And I think that's why it was such a legendary thing that happened in middle school at Country Day, and why we continued to play it through high school and, in Michael's case, to this very day. And I think the other half is really the tactical realities of learning how to manage money and things like that really gives students the opportunity to join the real world, join society in a way that they know how to navigate the ins and outs of saving money and growing and compounding interest and all those kinds of things that really generate a lot of value later in life and aren't as immediately obvious when you're, what were we, 13 years old at the time.
What were some of the bell cows that you guys wanted on? You remember some of the companies?
Well, I believe we had a long-short portfolio, which is the kind of thing that only a future, hedge fund manager would do at the time.
We were short LinkedIn. That was our big winner.
Was that what it was?
Okay. Wow.
Other than that, I have no memory of any of it.
They talk about how celebrities they were. We were taught about them, that they went to New York or they went to DC. Was it DC or New York?
It was New York.
Yeah,
we
went to New York.
We were in New York on the
them.
day that Facebook IPO'd.
Yep.
So we were on the literally the trading floor when Facebook IPO'd at $100 billion. And today it's over $1.5 trillion.
Yeah. Lazard let us buy 10 shares, but they sold them after a year, and unfortunately we didn't get to keep those anymore. That would have been pretty lucrative.
That would have been. Well, Ava, you participated in STEP and Market Madness during your time as a student at Kilgore. What do you remember most about those experiences, besides learning about the legends here?
Yeah, no, the legends were it was big when Mrs. Lewis told us about them. But for Market Madness and STEP, it was really about excitement. This was the first time that we had been introduced that kids our age could make a business. And if you knew anybody in the early 2000s, any young people, they were obsessed with duct tape. And we made duct tape wallets, and we went to UC, and we were bused there, and we felt so special and so important because this huge market was made specifically for us. And we went in and we sold our duct tape wallets, and then we were able to walk around and see what all these other students in Greater Cincinnati had created for us. So it was this time of independence that was created by our teachers and by this foundation, where we were able to walk around and see what we were able to do at the age of 8 and 9. And I didn't make any money, I bought a lot of stuff, but it was a beautiful experience nonetheless.
Now, as people that have, this is kind of, I guess, more of a personal question, but still business related, as people that grew up playing this game, and you guys are obviously in the financial industry, do you run your own book or do you outsource it, or do you have a little bit of both?
Well, my wife is in management consulting, so I'm not legally allowed to trade individual names, but I kind of really want to get back into that.
Yeah. Well, Michael, you oversee billions in technology at Coatue. So tell us about your work, what lessons the stock market game has provided you, and how did you settle on that path and get to where you are?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I literally play the stock market game every single day. When we were back in 8th grade, the way it worked was you were given a portfolio. you had to pick 4 names. There was like I don't know, maybe it was a 3-month, 2-month time horizon, and you could be long for companies, short for companies, whatever it was. We do that every day. And so the difference now is over the course of, I'm 31 now, so it would have been, a long time. I've gotten a little bit better at the job, but it's that, like the feeling when Sam and I and Jack Willingham, who's actually one of our other teammates, is here somewhere. Like we would come in every day, open our phone or open our laptop, and like look at the tickers and see how much money we've made or lost. And there's this, literally this feeling that you wake up and when the market opens, you could see what happened and you check at the end of the day when the market closes, like that literally has not changed. And that same feeling. And so we just have a little more tools and a little more knowledge to do that.
Inspired you to get into it, you could say?
100%, without a doubt, literally without a doubt, that game that we did in 8th grade, I haven't wanted to stop playing.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. So Tim, if we didn't have programs like STEP or the stock market game, what would students lose? And can you share a moment when you saw a student get it and where it clicked and where everything came together, which is the goal of this, educational venture?
Yeah, students would lose out on not learning financial literacy and the importance of money. And I believe that having kids get that experience and those opportunities from the volunteers that come in, they're seeing people who are living every day and they are having these interactions with kids, and that is changing those kids because it's opening their eyes to what the business world is doing. And it will cause them to start thinking, oh, I can do that. I can be whatever I want. And so having this partnership matters. And so what I have seen kids get it is when kids go to the STEP store and they come out and they're smiling and they say, you know what, Mr. Walker, I donated today to help somebody else. They get it. And that's what we're creating, a culture where we're teaching kids about the importance of money and how to use money responsibly.
That's amazing. So Ava, you're student teaching at North College. So you graduated in May?
I graduate in a month. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
From Miami?
Yes.
That's
Miami
awesome.
in Oxford.
So now, preparing for your own career in education, why do you think financial education is so important for students, and what did it mean to you as you're stepping into, a new career?
Yeah, I think financial education is the building block that everybody lives on. I mean, when you get out of high school, whether you're going to college or you're going to have an apartment or a house, you need to have these financial literacy skills. And it gives these kids a sense of independence that they can step out and they can have that confidence to create their own world and look at all of these different pathways that they're interested in. And because they have these financial skills, they're able to attain that. And it started at such a young age for me with the market madness and then the stock market game, that when I went to college, I'm happily able to say that I'm going to graduate debt-free. And that was because I started having these literacy skills at such a young age. And I think that those students get to see that, and then they also donate. All of my students, I told them about how at the STEP store you can donate, and ours was to other students to be able to go to college. And I told them that that's what I do. And so every single one of my students donated the rest of their earnings for students to be able to go to college. And I think that that shows the relationship between the two.
That's amazing. So pivoting to you, Sam. Yeah. You started out with aspirations to be an aerospace engineer.
I did.
But pivoted to business.
I did.
Ultimately becoming a startup founder. Tell us a little bit about your time as an entrepreneur and what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, my career is one of someone who has no idea what it is that they want to be when they grow up. I started and graduated with a degree in aerospace engineering, realized that I didn't actually enjoy the design part of that, but liked solving the big problems. And so sort of similar to what I said about the taking a very abstract problem like financial literacy or the stock market game, that was what I felt like I learned in my undergraduate experience. And so, I did one of the many jobs that people do when they don't know what they want to do, which was become a consultant initially. And then ultimately kind of found that what I really liked doing was building things. And in this case, it was the more abstract sense of building organizations and building processes and building systems. And so when we started GrowthFactor, me and my 2 co-founders, while we were in graduate school at MIT, we initially just said, let's solve problems for, in this case, retailers. We said we want to apply data science to solve any and all problems that retailers face, and kind of stumbled naturally upon this problem of where should retailers put their next store, which was the kind of analytical problem that I think over the many years of my time, starting in Susie Lewis's class and even before that, we had started to figure out how to break down. And that's what we've been doing relatively successfully for the last 2.5 years with Growth Factor. And just the ability to wake up every single day and not really know the problem that you're going to face at work has been unbelievably energizing and something I look forward to every day.
And is that across all industries of retail?
Yeah, we work across restaurants, veterinary clinics, traditional bookstores, and even fireworks stores.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking with you. So much of what I have achieved in life is due to a great mentor. Talk to me a bit about some of the mentors you've had. Obviously, Mrs. Lewis.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm so fortunate that my parents who are here enrolled me in Cincinnati Country Day when I was, I think, 3 years old, and I was there all the way through when I graduated, which is why Michael and Jack are still some of my best friends today, 20 some odd years later. Some of the teachers that we had during that experience, I think really specifically about some of our 5th grade teachers, Mr. Van Nuys, Mrs. Mentor, that really opened our eyes. I think as we were kind of evolving into, we were 10-year-old at the time, and sort of made, this is gonna sound cliche, but made learning and made thinking about things really, really cool, whether it was the World War II diorama project that Mr. Van Nuys did every single year, or the opportunity to first get your laptop and learn how to do things using that with Mrs. Mentor's class. And those are the things that sort of really stuck with us as a group, and I think partly why we're so close as friends today, that learning things and solving problems together was really interesting and something that I think allowed all of us to excel through high school and now into our careers. And so I think it really goes to the teachers who put their heart and soul in teaching us for all of those years at Country Day.
Wow, yeah, my 2-year-old daughter is starting at Country Day in the fall. If these are the results, I'm very excited.
I can't recommend it enough.
And then going to you, Michael, who are some of the mentors who've helped you be successful?
Yeah, well, I think we had this, part of this is mentorship, but we had this really interesting dynamic where we got lucky with a great group of people in our class. Mm-hmm. And so when you look across, other schools or a lot of my friends from college or even after, they don't have this same relationship with their high school class that we did. And out of a class of 60, our 15-person friend group almost are all doing incredible things. And so one of the beautiful things about where we went, and a lot of it was because of Mrs. Lewis and these different people that Sam talked about, was we were hyper-competitive. We were hyper-competitive. And it was this idea where you would literally be the lame kid if you got the bad math test. And at the time, looking back on it, kind of seems silly, but I think it really changed a lot of our outcomes. And so, in a lot of ways, I look at Sam, I look at Jack, those guys were my mentors at the time, so.
A lot of peer influence.
A lot of peer influence.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, Ava, teaching is incredibly important, but in a post-pandemic world, we all know the job has gotten even harder. What inspired you to step into this profession, and what's kept you committed to it?
I would say that I had so many teachers growing up, fortunately, that just made, like Sam said, learning so interesting. And I had a lot of teachers, especially I had an 8th grade social studies teacher, which if my mom was here, she would be laughing because I did not like social studies in 7th grade. I did not like reading the textbook, and I was really sick of regurgitating facts. And in 8th grade, the teacher I had, she would make it very interactive. So for a World War I project, we all were a different country and we had to act as them. And then we were writing debates about if this specific event should have happened and what would have happened if it hadn't occurred. And all of these where you put your interests into the lesson were really what made education so interesting and so fun for me. So then when I think about what keeps me committed to it, it's really, and every educator here, I'll bet you would agree, is the students. If you ask any educator in here why they're committed to teaching, it's really those students that come in every day, and you're not only their rock and you're the person there for them, but they also tend to be there for you. And that's something you realize the more you're in a classroom, is that you could be having a bad day and they're there to pick you up as much as you believe you're there for them. So it's really just a beautiful relationship that you have with many different generations where you're teaching each other every single day. And you're teaching each other a lot of patience too. It really goes both ways. So.
Do you remember who you got in the World War I scenario?
I don't. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do. I was the USA because I was
Let's
so
go.
tired of sitting back and doing nothing. And all of these other countries were doing stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs, I guess.
Wow. So Tim, you spent a decade as a school administrator, and you must juggle a lot of competing demands from your staff, parents, district leaders, on a limited budget, turnover, long hours. Who's inspired you to get into school administration, and can you share a moment when you realized it's all worth it?
Yeah, so for me, when I was at Cincinnati Public, there was a principal named Sharon Johnson. She inspired me to become an administrator. At the time, I was working as a school social worker, and she saw something in me, and she helped me to figure out what I needed to do in order to become a school administrator. And so she continues to stay in my life today. I can call her today, and she will help me with whatever I need. And so for me, that's been the person that has inspired me to get into school leadership. And what was the second part of the question?
Just a moment that it all felt worth it.
A moment that it all came worth it for me was when I had a parent tell me that over Christmas break, their kids was playing school. And that tells me it's all working, it's all worth it. And I was so excited to hear that because that just shows how much they miss being at school.
That's awesome. Obviously feel safe enough to play it.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the biggest critical factors that you've seen these past 2 school years? Where do kids need help? Where are they excelling? What do you see as the leader of a lot of young people?
I would definitely say right now, students are excelling at reading. And that is also one of the things that I have seen that has also been the challenge. Because before I became the principal, our school was a failing school. Within 1 year, we came out of school of improvement because we put the focus on using the data to help our students to learn. And when we started doing that, we started to see the growth. And now we became a Hall of Fame school, but it's all about, thank you. It's about our kids, and it's about helping kids believe in themselves and know that they can achieve, and providing them with the resources that they need to be successful. And having the STEP store come in and teach our kids about financial literacy, it matters. And it's helping our kids because kids want to learn to read so that they can do the right things to earn those points so that they can go to that STEP store and get some stuff.
Great. So, Michael, you've achieved a remarkable amount of success at a young age, and when you think about the journey from a classroom in Greater Cincinnati to Wall Street, how does that shape the way you think about giving back? I think we all find ourselves in positions maybe we didn't expect as young men in America. So how does your early success shape your worldview of giving back to your community?
Well, I grew up with a mother who basically spent all of her time at the Boys and Girls Club of America, and so she's very difficult to compare against because she's given her a lot of her life to giving back. And honestly, I think this is why she basically brought me here, was to meet you. As you guys know, this man's incredible and he's done so much. For right now, what I've been focused on is sort of the Susie Lewis School of Giving Back, which is really helping kids from Cincinnati who are interested in becoming, doing something in finance, whether that's banking or a hedge fund or private equity, meet people in the city. One of the tough parts there are a lot of great parts about being from Cincinnati, but if you want to get a job in New York, good luck. You're competing against all the people who grew up in Greenwich and on the East Coast, and so one of the hard parts is connecting people. I'm a big believer in persistence. Like any kid who emails me 2 or more times, I'll take the call and I'll introduce them to anyone, because I was that kid, and a lot of people gave me the opportunity that at the time I probably didn't deserve. So right now I'm focused on that, but I honestly, even just talking to you before, as 31, I got to get my act together a little bit and start doing more like you do. So my mom loves you, by the way.
I can't wait to meet her.
I'm fully convinced that's why she wanted me to come. So
we're neighbors.
Yeah.
Or are you like the leader of the Cincinnati financiers faction in New York?
I don't know about that. Maybe self-proclaimed, but no. But yeah, if any of your kids want an internship, please email me. I'm happy to help.
Wow, that's great. And Sam, you're building the company culture right now. Are there values from your early experiences at Country Day that help you and show up in how you lead and how you onboard people into your company?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it kind of goes to what Michael said, right? It's really true that the amount of, yes, competition, I guess is one word. I don't know that I would have said it, but like competing and helping each other try to all succeed collectively was a huge part of our experience growing up. And I think why the 15 of us are A, I think quite successful in our careers, and B, extremely close friends to this day. And in our company, I'm 31. I am the second oldest person at the company of 18. We have a lot of much younger students. We work out of Cambridge. We pull a lot of students right out of undergrad to come be engineers and salespeople for us. And so the culture that I try to build is how do we allow people to learn from each other and build off of each other? Today I'm here. My two co-founders are in San Francisco and in Charleston, South Carolina. And so they're all by themselves. And it's been an interesting test of watching them kind of, how do you guys problem solve when you can't ask questions to somebody? And how do you build that way of learning from each other and coaching each other just a little bit? Because that's going to give us so much more leverage as a business to grow when you can kind of take your hands off, which I am admittedly not very good at doing, but something that I think as a leader we have to do. And that culture of allowing people to learn from each other is the most important thing you can instill.
So having that great peer group, I'm very blessed. I have my classmate, Matt Rainey, co-founder of the Cincinnati. We went to high school together too.
Right on.
We have a group kind of like that, not as big as 15, but when you hire someone, do you look for qualities that could this guy fit in, or could this person fit into this friend group? Would they be successful and viable with how we grew up?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, it's hard to hire people. That is a very, very difficult thing, something that I've learned the hard way a number of times throughout my career. But bringing people in, we believe in an in-person culture. We have a small office in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where all of us are basically falling all over each other all day because it's 3 rooms and 15 people. But we try to bring people in and ideally have them work for us for a couple of weeks before we make that move. And that's a luxury that we've been able to negotiate with people. And that's been the best way to identify, is this someone who's going to fit in with this environment? Because at the end of the day, that cultural fit is the most important thing. Someone can be an absolute rock star, but if they don't fit in that culture, they don't build everybody up around them, it's not going to work out, especially in an environment like a startup.
And how big is your team?
We're about 18 right now.
Wow, congratulations. So Tim, from your perspective as a school leader, what does it really mean when the business community shows up for students in schools?
It means that students are given the opportunity to have experiences, and they are seeing people who are living their lives doing something for others, and this will expose them to know that they can be somebody too. And so having the partnerships with the business community, it matters. It matters, and it shows that we are working together to impact student achievement.
All right. And Ava, what are some of your things you're most looking forward to in becoming a teacher, and what are some of the things you're a little bit nervous and anxious about?
That's a good question. So something that I'm excited to start teaching, that's for sure. I'm excited to be done job searching in the near future. There's a lot of teachers in this room. There's a principal sitting right next to me.
It's a networking event.
Yeah, exactly. We've already talked about it. One thing that I absolutely love is helping students find what they are good at. And we've talked a lot about Susie Lewis, but she was somebody who took someone who wasn't. Math was never my favorite. That's why I'm not in the financial sector. But she took someone who didn't think I could do very well and showed me that I could. And that's something that a lot of students need, is a champion to push them. And regardless of whatever I teach and wherever I teach, that's something that every student deserves, because we don't always get it at home. And that was something that teachers did a lot for me, was push me and cheerlead for me and also hold me when I wasn't feeling the best. And that's the most exciting thing about being a teacher. Something I'm apprehensive of is a long commute, a long drive to school. But everything else I'm just excited for now.
All right. Well, we're going to round it out with a lightning round here. So 1 or 2 sentence responses. I have a few scripted. I'm going to do one myself too. But what's the first job you ever had? We'll just go down the line here. First job you ever had?
Ooh, I worked for a small startup in Northern Kentucky called Tixers. Theoretically, we were building a ticket reselling app. I was more or less selling tickets on Craigslist.
I was working for a private equity firm, so I emailed a lot of people back in the day, yeah.
Well, I didn't learn that fast like they did because I was in elementary school a social worker.
All right.
I was a lifeguard.
I was at Smoothie King.
Nice.
A smooth operator. Why is confidence so important in business?
Ooh, that's
tough in one
that's
or two
a tough
questions.
question.
That's a tough lightning round question.
I mean, look, people look to leaders to show them the way, and if you don't know what the way is, you kind of have to pretend like you do. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that every person will tell you you can't do something, and the people that try the hardest always win.
Confidence in education matters for students because you're teaching them to believe in themselves and that they can accomplish whatever they put their mind to.
Confidence is sending students into the world believing and knowing that they can do it, even if there's a lot of reasons that other people would say they can't.
What is your favorite book?
Ooh. You know, I think when I first read Jurassic Park, probably 2008, probably right around the time I was in 8th grade, I think that book really captivated me, probably brought like some science into life, and I think ever then Michael Crichton has been just fantastic.
Have you read more of Crichton? Have you read Eaters of the Dead?
I've read Airframe, and I think I've read a few other ones, but Jurassic
great.
Park really was like the first book that really got me.
It's a great choice to start us off.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, another good one.
The Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
The Hate You Give was a book that was given to me in 5th grade, and my teacher said, please ask your mom before you read this to make sure it's okay for you to read it. And it was an amazing book if you haven't read it.
What about you?
Probably Pillars of the Earth, Ken Follett.
Okay.
That's anything he writes. And then to finish it out here, barring anyone we've mentioned before, just a shout out to one adult who changed your life.
Wow.
I can go first, I'll save you. It was my grandfather, Oki Slee, who is no longer with us, but his wife, my Mimi, is here, and he's someone that really, really changed my life.
You got yours?
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, I'll say my mom. I think I was actually just at lunch this morning with my 20-month-old niece, and my mom was talking about how I think around age 4, we started doing math at the dinner table. And I think that goes a long way to sort of ultimately that whole trajectory of thinking, learning, and things like math were fun.
That's great.
For me, it's my brother, my older brother. When I was in college, I was struggling to figure out what I wanted to do, and he helped me understand that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do to make my life matter.
Mine was my high school guidance counselor, Morgan Taylor. She's a principal actually at a high school in Cincinnati, but she was the first person to not go, ooh, you want to be a teacher? You sure? And she just said, go to college and you're going to love it, and I have, and she's been my biggest supporter in that. And what about you?
Nancy Wheeler, senior year English teacher at Cathedral High School in Indianapolis, saved my life, sat me down, told me I had a real chance. I was kind of on the wrong path, and I got my ass right there. So I'm very grateful to her.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can close it at that. Let's give it up for our panelists. Thank you guys so much for coming out. That was fantastic. Thank you, UC, Peter Alpaugh. Thank you guys for having us tonight. Great job, guys. Yeah,
appreciate it.
Great job.
You
guys are buttoned up.
Thank you.
You guys are all very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.